Hello students, today in this lecture we are going to learn about quantity theory of money. In monetary economics, the problem of determining the value of money attains vital importance because all the economic variables are calculated in terms of money. For example, gross domestic product, general price level, etc. are measured in terms of money. However, the money that is acting as a measuring rod itself does not remain stable in value. Therefore, the phenomenon of value of money needs to be theoretically discussed and conceptually clarified. Generally, the price level and the value of money go in opposite directions. In simple words, the higher level of prices, the less would be the value of money, and vice versa. On the other hand, the price level and supply of money move in the same direction. That means, higher the money supply, higher is price level. The quantity theory of money explains this relationship between money supply and price level on one hand, between price level and value of money on the other hand. It states that the general price level of goods and services is directly proportional to the amount of money in circulation or money supply. The concept of quantity theory of money, that is QTM, commenced in the 16th century. During this period, gold and silver were flowing from America to Europe and were being minted into coins. This led to rise in inflation. This development led economist Henry Thornton in 1802 to assume that money equals more inflation and that an increase in money supply does not necessarily mean an increase in economic output. The quantity theory of money seeks to explain the factors that determine general price level in the economy. According to this theory, the supply of money directly determines price level. There are two famous approaches to the quantity theory of money. The first one is a Fisher's transaction approach and the second one is Cambridge cash balance approach. Let us first understand Fisher's transaction approach of quantity theory of money. This version of quantity theory of money was given by the American economist Irving Fisher in 1911 in his book The Purchasing Power of Money. He stated that other things remaining unchanged, as the quantity of money in circulation increases, the price level also increases in direct proportion. The value of money decreases and vice versa. According to this approach, if money in circulation is increased, price level also increases and percentage or proportion rise in price level is just equal to percentage or proportion of increase in money in circulation. Since the value of money inversely related to price level, it decreases with increase in money in circulation and vice versa. According to this statement, if money supply increases by 50%, price level will also increase by 50%, but the value of money will decrease by 50%. This relation is explained with the help of equation called as Fisher mathematical equation. Like other commodities, the value of money or price level is determined by demand and supply of money, and at the equilibrium the supply of money is equal to demand for money. In other words, the total value of money expenditure in all transactions is equal to the total value of all items transacted. Professor Fisher introduced quantity theory by way of a mathematical equation. He stated this equation as m multiplied by V is equal to P multiplied by T, or P is equal to mV divided by T. He extended this equation as P is equal to mV plus m dash V dash divided by T in latter stages. In this equation, m is money supply, V is velocity of money, P is a price level, and T is a volume of transactions. M dash is the amount of bank money, V dash is the velocity of bank money. Fisher explained his equation with the help of some assumptions. The first assumption is that of a constant velocity of a money. According to Fisher, the velocity of money is the number of times money changes the hands. Fisher says that V remains constant and is not influenced by changes in the quantity of money. The velocity of money depends upon exogenous factors like population, trade activities, habits of people, interest rate, etc. These factors are relatively stable and change very slowly over a long period of time. Therefore, V tends to remain constant, so that any change in the supply of money, that is M, will have no effect on velocity of money, that is V. The second assumption is constant volume of a trade or transactions. The total volume of trade or transactions, that is T, is also assumed to be constant and is not affected by changes in the quantity of money. T is viewed as independently determined by the factors like natural resources, technological development, population, etc., which are outside the equation and change slowly over the time. Thus, any change in the supply of money, that is M, will have no effect on T. Constancy of a T means full employment of resources in the economy. The third assumption is price level is a passive factor. According to Fisher, the price level denoted by P is a passive factor, which means that the price level is affected by other factors of equation, but it does not affect them. P is the effect and not the cause in Fisher's equation. An increase in M and V will raise the price level. Similarly, an increase in T will reduce the price level. The fourth assumption in this equation is money is a medium of exchange. Money facilitates the transaction. It is not hoarded or not held for speculative purposes. And the fifth assumption is that there is a constant relation between M, that is currency money, and M dash, that is bank money. Bank money depends upon credit creation by the commercial banks. In turn, it is a function of currency money, that is M. Thus, the ratio of M dash to M remains constant, and inclusion of M dash in the equation does not disturb the equation. The theory assumes a long period, as only in the long period V and T are considered constant. Thus, M dash V, V dash and T in the equation MV plus M dash V dash is equal to PT are constant over time, and P is a passive factor. It becomes clear that a change in the money supply M will lead to a direct and proportionate change in the price level P. The broad conclusion of Fisher's quantity theory of money, they are: 1. The general price level in a country is determined by the supply and demand of a money. 2. When demand for money is given, changes in the money supply lead to proportional changes in the price level. 3. Changes in money supply change in prices, thus leave the real variables such as employment and output unaltered. 4. Under the equilibrium conditions of full employment, the role of the monetary or the fiscal policy is limited. 5. During temporary disequilibrium period of adjustment, an appropriate monetary policy can stabilize the economy. And 6. The monetary authorities, by changing the supply of money, can influence, control the price level and the level of economic activity of the country. But Fisher's equation was criticized on many grounds, like it is based on useless assumptions, wherein most of the variables are kept constant. Second, in the equation M, V and T are independent variables, while it is not true. When money changes, it brings changes in the velocity and in the amount of goods and services. Third, according to Fisher, the increase or decrease in the quantity of money brings proportionate change in the price level. History shows that it is not true. Fourth, the presence of full employment reduces practical implication of the theory. Fifth, monetary policy proved ineffective in 1930, when Great Depression shook every country. Another serious defect in this theory does not take into consideration the influences of the rate of interest on cash balances. Another objection is that it does not treat the problem dynamically. After understanding Fisher's equation, let us move to the Cambridge cash balance approach to the quantity theory of money. It is an alternative move to Fisher's theory of money. Although both quantity theories attempt to express a relationship among the amount of goods produced, price level and amount of money and how the money moves, the Cambridge equation focuses on money demand instead of money supply. The theories also differ in explaining the movement of money. In the classical version, money moves at a fixed rate and serves only as a medium of exchange, while in the Cambridge approach, money acts as a store of value. Its movement depends on desirability of holding cash. The cash balance approach was propounded by 4 Cambridge economists, namely Marshall, Pigou, Keynes and Robertson. According to them, the value of money depends upon demand for money, but the demand of money arises not on the account of transactions, but on the account of its being a store of value. It means that people demand money to hold it in cash. Thus, the community's total demand for money balances means proportion of its annual real national income, which the community seeks to hold in the form of liquid cash. This demand for the real cash balances varies from time to time. Thus, given the state of trade T and the volume of planned transactions over a period of time, the community's total demand for real money balances can be represented as certain fraction K of the annual real national income R. In the words of Marshall, in every state of a society, there is a some fraction of their income which people find worthwhile to keep in the form of currency. It may be fifth or a tenth or a 20th. Holding of money involves a sacrifice, because when we hold or save, we spend less. If this holding is too less, it means inconvenience, and too much may mean unnecessary stinting. Therefore, somewhere between the true extremes, every family, every community fixes the amount of money it will keep. This proportion is always the result of deliberate decision and is the demand for money. Suppose at one time people want to possess cash balances worth 1/10 of their annual income. Now, they want to have a cash balances representing 1/7 of a national income. This means they want to have more cash with them, which is possible only by curtailing expenditure on goods and services, which in turn means less demand for the goods and services, and hence a fall in the prices. Similarly, if they want to have a less cash balances, they will spend more and the prices will be pushed up. Thus, according to cash balance approach, the value of money depends upon the demand for money to be kept as a cash. The essence of this theory is that the demand for money, in addition to depending upon the volume of transactions that an individual might be planning to undertake, will also vary with the level of his wealth and with the opportunity cost of holding money. The income foregone by not holding other assets. According to Dr. Marshall, the equation is M is equal to Ky, where M is total supply of money consisting of legal tender money and current deposits. K is the fraction of real income which people desire to hold in the form of liquid cash, and Y is the total real income of the people. Keynes gave the equation as N is equal to Pk, where K is constant and the number of consumption units in the form of cash, N is total currency in circulation, and P is the price for consumption unit. Pigou expresses it in the form of an equation, namely P is equal to Kr upon M or M upon Kr, where P stands for value of money or its inverse price level, M upon Kr. M represents supply of money, R is total national income, and K represents that fraction of R which people wish to hold in the form of cash. Professor D. H. Robertson's equation is similar to that of Professor Pigou with a little difference. Professor Robertson equation is M is equal to PKT or P is equal to M divided by KT, where P is the price level, T is the total amount of goods and services, like R in the Pigou's equation, K represents the fraction of T for which people wish to keep cash. Professor Robertson's equation is considered better than that of Pigou, as it is more comparable with that of Fisher. It is best of all Cambridge equations, as it is the easiest. Cash balances version of the quantity theory of money is superior to Fisher's version of quantity theory of money on certain grounds. 1. The cash balances version lays a stress on the subjective valuations and human motives, which are the basis of all economic activities, in sharp contrast to the highly mechanical nature of concept of velocity in Fisher's equation. Second, the Cambridge version of the theory brings to light a new element, namely the level of income, changes therein and in its velocity. Instead of being concerned with the total transactions, it is concerned with the level of income, which in turn determines the level of economic development, employment and price level. As a matter of fact, the problem of price level cannot be studied without a reference to changes in the income and output. Moreover, it is not the velocity of money which matters, but the velocity of circulation of money due to changes in the income that matters. 3. The cash balances equation brings to the light demand for money to hold. This emphasis on the demand side is in sharp contrast to the traditional emphasis on the supply side. Actually, Cambridge equation was put forward to validate the classical quantity theory of money, according to which the supply of money is the sole determinant of the price level. 4. The cash balances approach links itself with the general theory of value, since it explains the value of money in terms of demand for and supply of money. The equation P is equal to M divided by KT is a more useful device than transaction equation P is equal to MV divided by T, because it is easier to know how large cash balances individuals hold than to know how much they spent on various types of transactions. 5. Cash balances approach has given rise to famous liquidity preference theory, which has become an integral part of theory of income, output and employment. 6. Cash balances approach brings out importance of K and analysis of factors responsible for fluctuations in K offered a scope for the study of many important problems like uncertainty, expectations, rate of interest, etc., which are not considered in the transaction approach. The symbol K reflects the desire for liquidity. A shift in K in the direction of an increased desire for liquidity shows a fall in demand for goods, that is, a movement away from goods to money, resulting in the revision of production plans, curtailment of output and fall of income. We can conclude that both the approaches help in understanding the quantity theory of money. It gives insight in the relation between the value and price on one hand, and between price and quantity of money on the other hand, with their own weaknesses. Thank you.